Welcome to Body Bags, presented by the Kokomo Lantern. My name is Jeremy Geiger. I'm a co-owner of City of First Cremation and Funeral Service. Today's episode is part 3 of the Indiana Funeral Directors Convention. To me, this was the most exciting part, outside of John Hill's conversations about delayed embalming. This is about the convention trade floor. When I first started in funeral service, it was pretty cool. We had regional sales reps, so we got to know the people in our industry that were providing products that we typically would use. We would see them once a month. Some of the other vendors we'd see twice a year. Things have kind of changed in the industry, and maybe some of you people can relate to this as well, but we don't have the traveling salesmen or salespersons that we used to. So really our only connections are us calling that manufacturer and saying, hey, we have an interest, we'd like to know more about it. Can you either provide us with some details or send us a representative of the company to come talk to us? Since we don't get that anymore, our convention is where we're really meeting these people. A lot of them were local this year. Some of the other conventions that I've been to in the past, we're maybe dealing with vendors outside of Indiana. In our other episodes, I kind of talked to you about Indiana being a little hub of the funeral service industry, whether it's mortuary cots or it's caskets, urns, or printed goods. A lot of those products come right here from Indiana. So we got to visit with Batesville Casket Company. We got to talk with them at the Matthews International Casket Company. Those are our bigger brand names. They had some neat ideas and changes that were out there, nothing too crazy in my eyes. We got to deal with a gentleman, his name was Chris. He is the owner of Star Mark Casket Company, which is a smaller privately owned company. He has this casket that is called the Bayview. It really was pretty cool to us. The Bayview is kind of what you might think of seeing the Pope lay in. It was kind of maybe the bottom third of a casket where the corners were scalloped up, where you see the full body in representation in that casket. The inside of the Bayview is a cremation container, and it has an interior to it, so there was a lining to it. There was some padding for the body to lay on. It comes with a pillow and some blanketry. This casket gives families an opportunity to have maybe a private ID, private memorial or funeral ceremony where they wouldn't maybe be embalmed. You could be embalmed and placed into this casket. It had handles on the side of it, so that way if you had pallbearers, they could still play that role and carry the casket to the back of the funeral coach after leaving the church or something like that. But its simplicity was really neat to us because we like to offer that to our families when they do private ceremonies or IDs, to kind of give them that traditional casketed feel to the cremation. The price point on this was awesome to hear. It's so much cheaper than us purchasing that rental casket to try to store. This one will be very easy for us to store. It is a purchase that we made today. They're going to be delivering it to us earlier this week. We're really excited about getting the opportunities to show it to our families because it's just a different feel of a casket that incorporates cremation so well versus spending bigger money for an actual cremation casket or the expense of that rental. So yeah, that was really neat to kind of see. We got to look at Munster Coach. They were there. They brought some new products. They had Chrysler Pacifica, they had a Cadillac, they had a Lincoln, they had another Chevy vehicle. It was an SUV that they'd converted into a funeral service vehicle. Really neat to see how those builds are, some of the different personalizations that the funeral homes could add to it, which was really cool. We don't have a funeral coach here at City of First Cremation. Not sure we have an interest of that either, but it was neat to see maybe more of the service vehicles that we do typically utilize for our removals and stuff like that, what those options were for us in the future. Outside of maybe the caskets and the transportation needs, we had things such as the printed goods. So Hilton Supply was there. They were showing us the vast variety of personalization of bookmarks, memorial folders, register books. They're doing memorial candles now. All really neat things. So it was pretty interesting to see there has actually been some changes in our industry. Sometimes I feel like we get pretty stagnant, that we can't really come up with any new neat ideas. We had some embalming fluid companies that were in presence. So we had Dodge Chemical Company and we had Fridge Fluid Company. Fridge Fluid Company kind of deals more on the glutaraldehyde and silicone technology with our fluids, where Dodge is still our traditional formaldehyde base. They are branching into the glutaraldehyde, which is more safe for us to use. Nothing really big there changing, other than Fridge had their new embalming machine, which is all digital. I've been eyeing it for the last couple years. Would love to have a purple machine. They only had white that was in stock. Boo, didn't get it. Maybe in the next couple years I'll get me a purple one. Then we got to see some things that were really neat to us on the cremation side. So there's a new company in Indianapolis. They offer some urns. We've ordered some, they haven't come in. When they do arrive, I will be showing them to you because they are some of the coolest stone urns I have ever seen. Some of the most vibrant colors with the purples, the blues, the reds, the pinks. I showed my daughter some of these pictures and she says, "Dad, that's gotta be amethyst." When I went back on Thursday to talk to them more about their products and explore some of their other options, they told me it was not amethyst, that it was actually onyx. And they're taking some of the different colored onyxes and they're creating segments and epoxying them together. They're doing like checkerboard patterns that were really neat on these urns. Another thing that I thought was really cool on the urns was they had one that looked like a book. The ones that we currently offer are, they're like 4 books together to create like a bookshelf end. They're made of resin. They look pretty cool in my opinion, but this onyx one that we seen was the coolest because it almost was like a Webster dictionary thickness, and I could just like envision that book end with the person's name and the date, like it would be their Dewey Decimal number, and then on the actual book cover having their full picture. It was so cool seeing some of the things that would be available and where my mind goes with some of that personalization. Just some really neat things on the urn side of cremation. The other neat thing that we got an opportunity to do was spend some time with a glass company out of Indianapolis. They're really new. There's 4 of them that work there. They're all graduates of Ball State. They all have degrees in art and in glass making. We sell a lot of art glass here at City of First Cremation because we find it a really neat way to personalize a keepsake that you are proud to show at your house and it not stand out, maybe be that urn or that morbid feel to it. We did purchase some of their pet displays. When we got back, we called them immediately and said, we need the whole display. We absolutely love this, and we're going to come down and tour the facility. We want to talk to you about taking classes. But these people they're young. They've got this really cool interest in glass and working with cremated human remains. So the ones that we did purchase was the pet ones, like I said, and they do a dog bone for the animals, and then they do a cat as well. Just the colors that they're able to provide is really, really unique. But what is probably the coolest thing in the art glass that they've done is how the cremated remains are actually swirled into the glass. It doesn't seem flat. It seems like it's got depth to it, where it maybe like, I described it to my mom as like almost like a wormhole has been bored through the glass, and it's left this really neat white pebbled texture through there. So it was neat to see some different ideas. Currently, we were offering just a paw print in the glass, and these two new additions are super, super cool. They do a smaller orb, they do a smaller flame. I'm trying to think of what else did they do. The orb, the flame. There's 3 things, doggone. I'm not sure. It was just really neat to just see the color palette, because it was more vibrant than what we're currently seeing. Nothing against our suppliers. We are definitely going to take some of these to the vendors we are currently using to maybe help spark that interest in their eyes, to maybe come up with some cool ideas as well. Outside the art glass, we had vendors that were showing table setups for when we go to the church. Table for the register book and memorial folders, where we would maybe place an urn. The other things that they were offering were like cot covers and church truck covers. They're important to us. They maybe get overlooked in my eyes by some of the funeral homes, because I've seen some pretty used and abused cot covers, I'll say. Not that they're dirty, they've got a long life out of them, and it's time to put them away and get something new. But it was kind of neat to see how the fabric in that has changed, because we were always used to seeing it's burgundy, it's navy, it's green, and it's black. Those are your options. There's more to it than that anymore. There's really neat patterns, there's really neat color options. So it's very cool to see some of these changes that I've been wanting to see in funeral industry starting to actually take place. I think it's a generational thing that's taking that opportunity and exploring these things better than what the older generations have. I think maybe their mindset is, it's not broke, don't fix it. We're going to leave it how it is. So, outside of the urns and the art glass, we had insurance companies that were there. There was another company that is rather new, and I think you listeners and viewers might want to know this. We got introduced to a company that does death scene cleanup. It's something that not everybody has to deal with, whether it's a terrible suicide or a terrible accident, or the unfortunate person that may have gotten forgotten about and has passed away at home for an extended period of time, and they're decomposing at home. This company works with your insurance company. I had no idea. I thought it was something you had to pay out of your pocket. They actually work with your insurance company, and they will help you understand how the policy is designed to help clean up this disaster that's been left behind. And they're not charging tens of thousands of dollars. They have actually become a consultant with some of the other insurance companies about what are appropriate prices for what you guys do. Because it's not just a simple go in and clean with bleach and water. There's a lot that goes into it, more than I ever thought there was. And hats off to you all that have to go in there and deal with those situations. I'm thankful that if I'm there, I'm only there for a very short period of time, and it's not my problem to have to be concerned with cleaning up. So it was really neat to see and have that information for our community, because we do occasionally get asked about who can help me clean this up, and I've never really had a great answer for families. We've always had just one option, and I knew it was terribly expensive, and most families weren't going to continue down that avenue once they found out the cost of it. The other thing that we did on the convention floor was we had our lunch there. So we had an hour for lunch and an hour to walk the floor, so a total of 2 hours. On that Thursday, the other neat thing that was cool was they brought back our ice cream social. We used to have that on the last day of convention every time. It was just an opportunity for us, funeral directors and business owners, to kind of talk to not necessarily our competitors, but our other business partners, to see how funeral service is different for them in their community and in their region. You would think that there would be a lot of similarities, but there's not. There's a lot of regional quirks or regional preferences, and it's kind of neat to hear. So then it may be something that you would be interested in including in your neighborhood or in your community, and sharing it with a family, saying, hey, I've learned about this procedure. Whether it's hanging a wreath on the door signifying that there's been a loss in the family. They call those mourning badges, or putting out a sign saying that there's been a death in your family, and to keep you in your thoughts and prayers. But it was really neat to see the ice cream social brought back. So we got to have a couple of different flavors. They had all the toppings, and it was just kind of nice to either sit inside where it was nice and chilly, or to go out onto the patio and enjoy the sunshine and just kind of talk with everybody. It wasn't a very large convention floor. I felt that it was maybe half of what I've experienced in the past. In the past, we've typically been at Lucas Oil Stadium, downtown Indianapolis. This year we were in Noblesville at the Wyndham Convention Center. I kind of liked the feel of it being smaller. The food could have been improved. The chairs could be drastically improved. I could live with the food items and the ice cream, but the seating wasn't the greatest. The sound, I felt, was really good. We could hear our speakers. Some of them had media that they wanted to show to us, whether it was video clips or it was pictures. Some of them showed us working through websites on the internet and seeing it live displayed on their screen. So it was pretty cool. It was great to catch up with some of our vendors and tell them about our situation, that we've branched out on our own and we own our own funeral home. They're going to be coming to see us. So if you're working at a funeral home, or if you are a student in the industry, talk to the funeral home that you're working with and say, hey, I have an interest. I want to go to a convention. I think it's super important for you, before you get licensed, to kind of have an understanding what the convention is, because you've heard me say it was kind of boring. I've done it so many times. It's not my first time there. I've gotten a lot of hours invested. So it's not quite as exciting maybe for me as it would be for somebody that hasn't had an opportunity to experience it. And I want you to be excited to go to those conventions, to sit in those classes, because you don't want to have a negative mindset about, oh, I just need 3 more hours. These people they have that come talk to us in the seminars, there's a reason why they're there. They've got great information to provide you. And it's also to rejuvenate you as a funeral director, to get excited about what we do, to continue following your passion and your dreams. And on the showroom floor, it's important that you're getting out there to make those connections with those vendors, because you never know, you may have a family that asks you a question of, hey, I want a casket, but I don't really want a normal casket. I want something that maybe shows the full body, like this Bayview casket. And you may remember, doggone it, was that convention? What was the name of that person? What was the name of that company? And if you've been a good student, you've taken notes on the trade room floor and in the classes, you'll go back to your paperwork from going to convention or sitting in a district meeting, and you'll find your notes and you'll go, oh, it was Chris from Starmark. He had the Bayview. I need to get a hold of him and get some product information so I can share it with this family. So it's extremely important that you do take the time to walk that showroom floor, learn about those products that are out there, make the connections. Those connections may also lead into a career opportunity for you, and you may not realize it right away. Maybe something long-term that may not turn into a career option. But it is really cool to go out there and see what's truly going on in our industry. We're not the only ones going through it. Our vendors are in the trenches with us day in and day out. They see more activity from the funeral homes than us funeral home owners trying to talk to the other people in our industry that are in our state trying to serve the families. So that was kind of the conclusion. We spent the 2 days there. We won 2 things in the silent auction. We got to rekindle some relationships with friends that we haven't seen in several years. It was just Kim and I, no Erica. But yeah, it's pretty cool. And I look forward to next year's opportunities at the state convention. We may try to squeeze in an international one depending on its location, but definitely like the IFDA conventions. I think they do a fantastic job providing us our hours and giving us great resources of information from these speakers. But I'm going to now leave you with a good story about funeral service and what I do. So this one's not going to be a gory, boring, in my eyes story. This is just going to give you a little glimpse as to what funeral directing is for me and what I do. So I was 16 when I became not a funeral director, when I was working at the funeral homes, freshman in high school. It's just continued on. It's snowballed into an opportunity to get my license, and then I managed a funeral home, and then I moved back closer to home to be near family, and I had some really neat connections where then I got the opportunity to open up my own place. So funeral service sticks with me 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. My phone's over here going off with text messages from families. Kim's answering the phone. That's why she's not with me. I see multiple phone calls coming through. So my day doesn't really end at 5 o'clock or 4 o'clock or 8 o'clock. My families can reach me at any time, and if you're not thinking of calling me, I'm probably thinking of your family and your loved one and what steps and things we need to get done to get them back home to you. So that takes up a lot of our time, a lot of our energy. We just finished up Memorial Weekend, So there's things that we don't get a break from. We didn't get a break from serving families. Kim and I were very busy over Memorial Weekend, but we did take the time, each of us, to find ways to revitalize our energy and get our attitudes in a better spot, so that way we're not maybe burnout and wore down. So Kim got to spend some time with her family. They built a gazebo at her mom's. Me, on the other hand, I like to play disc golf and hang out with my friends. So I got to go to Peru this weekend, and I got to play the King of the Courses, catch up with some friends from up in the Elkhart South Bend area and play with them. I was so close to getting the win. Doggone it. I was 2 strokes out going into the second round, and Tim Bewley, he was not letting me get any breaks. I mean, the guy was just draining putts left and right, and so he beat me by 2 more strokes that second round. I lost by a total of 4, taking second place. Can't be too upset. The weather held out pretty well. It was exciting to just be around some of my friends that I haven't seen in a while, because it's neat. Disc golf, we all travel around the state of Indiana looking to play tournaments, whether it's your favorite course or, hey, I know some of these people that are going to be there and I ain't talked to them in a couple of months. Let's go and play that one and see what they have to say. So I took part of this weekend to just rejuvenate myself, to prepare for the next coming weeks, because we've got Kim going out on vacation. It's going to leave me here, and things got crazy. You know, we took 3 death calls over the weekend, and then we took 3 more today. So that's 6 families over the course of the 3-day weekend. So it's important that we have self-recovery, and that's my message, is just taking the time. Doesn't have to be a funeral director that's worn out. You could be an average blue-collar worker. Take the time for yourself. It's super important, because you are of no value to anyone if you're not valuable to yourself. And that value is being happy and having the energy to continue to support those that are around you. So that's what I did this weekend. It wasn't super exciting. I may have had a couple of old fashions, drank some pretty good bourbon, which was a good time. Thank you, Coterie. I'll give you a shout out. You know what's going on. I've been eyeing the Brews on Buckeye, debating on joining you all for that one. But this does conclude our services here at City of First Cremation and Funeral Service. Please like, follow, subscribe, and we look forward to seeing you in the next episode. Bye.